In a small, quiet town, on the edge of an old-growth forest, lived a 23-year-old girl named Ashley. She had recently moved into a secluded house, eager to start a new life after hard times. The house was surrounded by thick trees, and the neighbors lived far enough away that Ashley felt completely safe. However, the safety turned out to be illusory. That night, as the woods fell silent, someone stealthily entered her house. Slowly, in the darkness, every rustle and every creak was followed by a sinister figure. This person was a maniac who, after weeks of surveillance, had chosen Ashley as his target. The maniac was ruthless and sophisticated. He snuck into the house through the backyard window as Ashley fell asleep. He hid in dark corners, watching her sleep peacefully, waiting for the perfect moment for his next move. His breathing was almost inaudible, as were his footsteps as he moved through the house like a shadow. One night, Ashley awoke to the strange feeling that someone was watching her. She turned on the lights and checked the house thoroughly, but found nothing. The feeling of uneasiness never left her, and she couldn't shake the feeling that someone was still lurking in her house. Several days passed and the nights became more and more disturbing. Ashley began to notice odd little things. Sometimes her things weren't where she'd left them, and the windows and doors she always closed were slightly ajar. She even found footprints on the floors that seemed to lead to her bed. One night when Ashley went back to bed, she felt something move next to her bed. When she woke up, she saw a dark figure standing in the corner of the room looking at her. Ashley's heart started to beat at a frantic pace. She screamed, but the figure disappeared as quickly as it had appeared. The next morning, she found fingerprints and marks made by a sharp object at the window. Frightened and tired of constant fear, Ashley turned to the police. However, despite their efforts, they could not find any trace of the maniac. Only at night, when she was alone again, she knew that the maniac was still around, waiting for the next moment for his sinister plan. Ashley made the decision to leave this house forever. But even years later, at night when she goes to sleep in her new home, she is frightened by the memory of the shadow in the window, watching her, and the fear that didn't leave her until the very end. After Ashley left her old home and moved to a new place, she thought she could start her life over. Her new home was on the outskirts of another town, in an even more secluded area surrounded by woods and fields. Ashley had hoped that her stalker would be a thing of the past, but she was wrong. The maniac, obsessed with his target, didn't lag behind. Using his tracking skills, he found her new address, following her movements and gathering information about her new life. He stalked her house day and night, hiding in the shadows of the woods and watching her every move through the windows. Gradually, Ashley began to notice strange signs. Her mailbox began to fill with frightening letters written in illegible handwriting. Each letter said, "Only one thing, I'm here for you." These words became more and more sinister and scary each time. Ashley went to the police again, providing letters and descriptions of suspicious sightings, but her report was ignored. The cops considered her complaints to be fiction and fantasy, pointing out that there was no conclusive evidence. It could just be a prank, they said. Ashley was shocked and frightened, but ignoring them only added to her sense of hopelessness. Meanwhile, the maniac continued his games. He began leaving traces around Ashley's new home: minor damage, flat tires on her car, and even dark symbols scrawled on her door. Every time Ashley thought her fears might just be a figment of her imagination, the maniac found a way to prove he was still around. One day, Ashley awoke to a terrifying knock on her door. Opening it, she found another letter left right on her doorstep. It read, "You can't hide from me. I will follow you wherever you go." Trembling with terror, Ashley contacted the police again, but again to no avail. Every day her fears grew and her life became a constant state of anxiety. The maniac, like a sinister ghost, continued to follow her, leaving his darkness in her life, despite her attempts to find safety and peace of mind. Ashley realized that her life would never be the same. She realized that the maniac was not just a physical stalker, but a symbol of her constant fear and anxiety that would never leave her. She tried to live, but every shadow and every sound reminded her that her stalker was still here, wherever she was. Ashley's life was marred by constant fear and worry. She tried to find solace in everyday life, but her anxiety would not leave her. One day, sitting in a local bar, she met a young man named Alex. They struck up a conversation, and Ashley, for the first time in a long time, felt at ease. Alex was attentive and understanding, and a strong friendship developed between them. When Ashley informed Alex about her stalker and her constant fear, he was shocked. He was genuinely concerned for her safety and offered a solution that might help. "Why don't you move in with me for a few days? It might make the maniac think you're not alone anymore. Maybe it'll scare him off," he suggested. Ashley, seeing his sincere concern and desire to help, agreed to his proposal. Soon Alex moved in with her, and they started their life together in her house. The first days were full of nervous anticipation, but soon Ashley noticed that the maniac did not leave his frightening letters and signs, and it seemed to her for a moment that he was really scared and decided to leave her alone. Gradually, a deep relationship developed between Ashley and Alex. Once they were under the same roof, they became closer, and real love feelings between them flared up. Alex became Ashley's support and protection, and she felt like she was behind a stone wall. His presence gave her a sense of security she hadn't felt in a long time. Every day they spent together strengthened their bond, and Ashley began to feel alive again. Alex took care of her and supported her in difficult moments, and her fear of the maniac gradually diminished. Finding herself in such a protected space, Ashley regained her confidence and began to see life in a new way. Although the maniac may not have disappeared completely, Ashley now knew that with Alex by her side, she could handle any challenge. His love and support were her shield against all the evil that had once haunted her, and she believed that together they could overcome any obstacle. Ashley and Alex continued their life together, and every day she grew more confident in her new security and in her feelings for him. They found comfort and joy in every moment they spent together. But one day, one ordinary day, her peace of mind was shattered. Ashley happened to notice Alex pull his wallet out of his coat pocket, and a small note fell out with it. It was written in illegible handwriting, but the words were clear: "I'm here for you." At first, Ashley thought it might have just been a random note, but her heart beat faster when she realized the words were familiar. They were the same words she had received from the maniac. Shocked and worried, Ashley didn't know what to do. She looked carefully at Alex, who didn't seem to notice that the note had fallen out of his pocket. When he went into the kitchen to prepare something, Ashley immediately grabbed the note and hid in her room, feeling her fear overwhelm her again. Her mind was in turmoil. If Alex really was a maniac, that meant he had been deceiving her all along, and her fears were right. She went over every moment of their life together, trying to find signs of deception. Before making a final decision, however, she decided to talk to him and get an explanation. When Alex returned, Ashley asked him about the note with a tremor in her voice. Alex, noticing her worried look, looked at her in surprise. He picked up the note, and after studying it, he explained with slight embarrassment, "This is an old note of mine. I used it a long time ago as a reminder of how important it is to be there for those you care about. I didn't realize I still had it." Although Alex's explanation seemed convincing, Ashley couldn't quite shake off her doubts. She decided to remain vigilant and keep watching to make sure her fears were just a figment of her imagination. Although Alex continued to be a support and protection for her, Ashley realized that her fear of the maniac and her constant insecurity hadn't completely disappeared. As time passed and their relationship grew stronger, Ashley remained wary every day. Although the maniac hadn't left her any new threats, that note had left a deep mark on her soul, reminding her that evil could lurk in the most unexpected places. Ashley decided to proceed with caution. She started watching Alexei, trying to figure out what he was doing when he left for work. Every morning he left the house in the same business suit, and every evening he returned with what seemed to be the usual reports and stories about his work. Ashley tried to be as inconspicuous as possible so as not to give away his intentions. Her observations led her to notice one oddity: Alex often left earlier than usual and returned late. It seemed odd considering his normal work schedule. At some point, her patience ran out, and she decided to follow him. On one of those days, Ashley got behind the wheel of her car and followed Alex. He didn't head to the office as she expected, but to a small house on the outskirts of town. The house looked abandoned, with boarded-up windows and an overgrown yard.